Hello, everyone. Welcome to week one content. This week, we're going to be focusing on fueling your transformation. This recording is being created especially for the second shift and the third shift, and the people that have missed the live lunch and learns. So we're getting started now. So on our second slide, what I decided to do is that I wanted to add a quote, which I'm gonna read for you, which it says, "Be careful what you hear on TV. Oprah's obesity gene is like my procrastination gene. It's a great excuse, but it does not actually change the math." So the reason why I decided to do this is because if any of you guys watch TV or if you have followed the news, well, a few months back, Oprah, well, as you guys know, she's pretty well known in the United States and I would say probably the world. And then she came out in live TV saying that she found out that she has the obesity gene. And after that, in the same recording, she started saying that she is taking GLP-1s, right? So we know about the Manjaros, we know about the Ozempics. So she's clearly getting paid for that. And I just wanted to make it sure that we don't follow what's not true. There's no such a thing as an obesity gene, okay? So when it comes to calories, starving is not key, right? Optimizing the nutrition, the timing is actually very important. Now we're going to move on to the next slide where I'm going to start talking about the big three. So so before we get started with the big three, let me tell you what they are. In this slide, we have protein, and then we're gonna talk about carbohydrates, and then we're gonna talk about fats. So one of the things that I wanted to emphasize is to let you guys know that when it comes to calories and calorie counting, for whoever likes to do that, okay, protein, 1 gram of protein is 4 calories. 1 gram of carbohydrates is 4 calories, and 1 gram of fats it's actually 9 calories. Now you may be wondering yourself, why is fats 9 calories? The reason for that is because it has more hydrogen bonds, which are very strong bonds that actually takes your body more calories to break down this fat. So when it comes to protein, it keeps the system full and protects existing muscle mass, protects muscle mass for the people who are trying to burn some fat. Sometimes when we overdo exercising and we start burning calories, also some muscle could be wasted because the body is trying to get some energy to fuel the activities you might be including into your daily. Now, for the people who are trying to build some muscle, well, the protein is the building block that's gonna help you build that muscle. Protein is not only important for building muscle, but it actually helps for other tissues, such as your hair, your skin, and your nails. So you're probably gonna see faster growth of any of these tissues as you start increasing your daily intake of protein. Now, when it comes to protein, right? So I read a few studies. I did not fully read them, but I read like the important parts, which there is a myth, which maybe some of you guys have already heard, which is that if you ingest more than 20 grams of protein in a single meal, then you're only gonna be able to ingest, or I guess synthesize, digest 20 grams of that protein, where that's actually not true. There's a few studies that are showing that the more protein you ingest, the more anabolism you're going to have, which means building muscle. So as you guys can see, if you ingest 40 grams of protein per meal, you're going to have more muscle to build. And let's say that you're a busy person, which I know most of you guys are. Let's say it's difficult to have your protein intake during the day, but once you get home, you have the ability to have a large meal, and let's say you're able to get 100 grams of protein in a single meal. Well, you are going to be able to digest 100 grams of protein, and that's going to be beneficial for your body and for your goal. So I wanted to bring this up because I want you guys to have the correct information to be successful in this challenge. Now let's talk about the energy system and the system regulators. So we're gonna talk about carbohydrates and fats. So carbohydrates are pretty much the fuel. Whenever you ingest carbohydrates, your body is gonna convert that into glucose. And then if you have excess glucose, then that's gonna be converted into fat. So carbohydrates are not the enemy. They are the fuel. I highly suggest for the people who are trying to lose some weight, do not cut them out cold turkey. Okay? Your brain runs out of 20 to 25% of the carbohydrate intake that you have every day. So if you cut carbohydrates like that quickly, there's a few things that are gonna happen. Okay? Your brain's gonna be foggy. You're gonna have headaches. You're gonna have what we call the sugar withdrawals. You're gonna have difficulty concentrating. You can be shaky. So it's probably not a good idea to do that. It's not gonna be sustainable. Okay? Now, what you wanna do for the people who are trying to burn some fat, you want to try to ingest complex carbohydrates. Some examples of complex carbohydrates are brown rice, sweet potatoes, legumes, okay? I shared a list of foods with you guys, which are for the big three, and you're gonna have a list of more of this there. Now, when it comes to the people who are trying to maybe burn some muscle, and let's say you're trying to get to the gym in the next hour or so, you could actually try to ingest simple carbohydrates. I still strongly suggest that you would get complex carbohydrates because the energy release out of these types of carbohydrates is a little bit more steady. So this is gonna prevent from your sugar to go up, then your insulin goes up, and then we start dealing with insulin sensitivity in the long term, which we want to avoid. But we want to prevent that because once that happens, sugar goes up, insulin follows, and then whenever insulin starts getting all that glucose out of your cardiovascular system, then you have that crash where you start feeling sleepy, you're tired, and then suddenly you're eating again because you need energy, your brain is asking you for it. So that's about carbohydrates. Now, when it comes to the fats, this is what I call the management system. So the reason why is because fats are actually necessary for daily functions for your body. You should not be cutting fats cold turkey or zero fats. Fats are good for you. Your body needs them for its different processes. They help hormones production. They help absorbing vitamins, the fat soluble vitamins. Just make sure that you're eating the right fats. So you have the good fats, you have the okay fats, and then you have the bad fats. Good fats, olive oil, avocado oil. You can get those from avocados, you can get those from nuts. You have the okay oils, which could be butter. You got ghee, okay? And then you have the bad fats, which are the hydrogenated oils. One of the things that I wanted to bring to your attention is the seed oils. Nowadays, more and more and more, we're seeing seed oils being included in foods, in restaurants, maybe at the house. They are being marketed as something healthy, but it's actually not. There are more and more studies coming out that they are linking seed oils with problems with the digestive tract, such as colon cancer, especially in the young population. As an example, canola oil. Canola oil over 50 years ago used to be used to lubricate engines. And suddenly we find it in many products in the grocery stores, in the supermarkets. You put that in your body, that's highly likely that's going to cause inflammation. So please, please, please try to utilize the healthy oils. All right, so now let's talk about the system requirements. So when it comes to proteins, you want to consume about 1 to 1.5 grams of pound of body weight. So the reason why you want to do the same in whenever you're focused in burning muscle, burning fat, or whenever you're focused in building muscle, is because while you're burning, you want to incentivize your body not to lose muscle. And whenever you're building, you're gonna add the incentive through the weights, and then these are gonna be used for the building blocks. If you're giving the right amount of incentive to your body, then you're gonna start building muscle. When it comes to carbohydrates, 1 to 1.5 grams for the people who are trying to burn some fat, and then 2 to 3 grams of carbohydrates for the people trying to build muscle. Our bodies are very effective at adapting. If you feel you start with this and you feel like you have lost, your body is not changing anymore, then it's likely that your body has adapted. Okay, so then you can start, if you're gonna be counting your calories, then you can start dropping the carbohydrate intake little by little. Do not do it all at once. You can gradually do it so that you have a sustained, long change of habit. Now, when it comes for fat, it's the same amount for both groups, 0.3 to 0.5 grams of fats consumed per day per body pound. The assembly blueprint, translating math to the plate. So, most of us do not like counting calories. Just as an FYI, the app that I made you download so that we could get our metrics, it actually has the ability where you can actually add your foods, you can add water, you can add activities, so it can help you track your calories if that's something that you're willing to do. Now, if your focus is weight loss, so this is the rule. Try to get 1/4 of your plate to have protein, 1/4 of your plate to have fiber-rich carbohydrates, and then half of your plate make it with vegetables. Now, if you're building muscle, you're gonna need more protein. So you want to change that to 1/3 of the plate to have protein, to 1/3 of the plate to have carbohydrates, and another third of the plate to have vegetables. Also, we should pay attention to the 80-20 protocol, which means that we would like for our food in the plate to be about 80% to be whole single ingredient foods. We're going to talk about labels on foods in the next slide, but try to make it whole. If you have names that you don't even recognize, that's probably not a good source of food. All right, when it comes to reading food labels, quality control. So, step one, you don't want to just pay attention to the calories that as you can see it there. Let me point it out right here for you guys. Right here, it says 200 calories. So let's imagine that you're eating some Pringles, right? And you are like, oh, let me just eat this. You're watching a movie, you're eating, and then suddenly you ate the whole thing. And then you might have a mindset like, you know what? This was just 200 calories. I'm gonna go for a 40-minute run, 30-minute run. I'm gonna burn it and then I'm good to go. Well, that's not true. You must pay attention to this right here, which is the amount of servings that container has. So you may be believing that you only ate 200 grams of protein, 200 calories, but you actually ate 600. Remember this, there's no amount of exercise that can outweigh any bad diets, okay? Now, step two, execute the rule of five. So if in the first three ingredients you see sugars, refined flour, or hydrogenated oils, probably you need to put it back. The reason for that is that when it comes to the list of ingredients, the first ingredient is the most amount of ingredient that this food contains. So if you have sugars, hydrogenated oils, or refined flours, it has too much of that. You should probably put it down. So if any of these two rules apply, you see that they have too many calories, they have some ingredients. Like there's another rule where people talk about like, hey, if your grandma can't recognize these ingredients, it's probably not a good food, should probably put it down. No, let's talk about a little bit of sugars, hydration, and recovery. Let's get started with a little bit of sugars. So our food system is inundated with highly processed foods. So they contain a lot of sugars, a lot of ingredients that we used to not have. Just to give you an example, in the cafeteria at the Miami DC, we have a bunch of drinks in there. I'm sure you guys have seen the naked drinks. We have the Starbucks drinks. We have the sodas. We have the energy drinks, which, yes, they all taste delicious. They have this very clever marketing where they're gonna tell you it is all natural. It has veggies, it has fruits, like your vitamins, your minerals, and all that. But whenever, now that you guys are gonna know how to read the labels, and then you pay attention on how many grams of sugar that drink has, and then you actually translate that into, hey, 4 grams of sugar equals 1 teaspoon of sugar. So pay attention to this graphic. That means that whenever, after you drank that, if you put these 8 teaspoons in a glass, you're gonna see, and it's like, hey, am I really drinking this? That straight up goes to your bloodstream, then insulin goes up, and that gets stored and it becomes fat, and then you have to work to get rid of it. Hydration. The reason why hydration is very important is because when your body is well hydrated, it's able to deliver all the nutrients, all the vitamins and minerals that it needs to sustain the day-to-day activities to where it needs to go. Recovery. Let's say you're doing everything right, right? But then you're only getting 3, 4 hours of sleeping. Yes, you didn't eat a lot of calories. Supposedly, you should be able to lose some fat. But then, if your body is not recovered and the actual processes that have to go through in your body to lose that fat, they're not going to happen. On a different side, but the same story with the people who are going to be trying to build some muscle, right? Like, as an example, me, it's easy for me to go to the gym. I'll hit the gym for 2 hours. I like to pump iron, right? I like to hit the weights. I'm adding the stimuli for that muscle growth to happen. But then you go home, yes, you have your meal, and then suddenly it's midnight, 1, 2 p.m. You stayed awake watching binging a movie or something, and then what's gonna happen is that if you don't have enough time to sleep, right? We have a gland in the back of our head called the pituitary gland, which is one of its functions is to release human growth hormone. But in order for this to happen, your insulin has to be low, and then it has to have the ability to work with your circadian rhythm, where you have to have enough sleep so that it actually starts secreting, so that then it tells your body, hey, grow. So if you don't have enough sleep, you're putting the work in the gym, you're putting the work in the diet, but if you don't recover, nothing's gonna grow. Remember, the muscle grows while you sleep, not at the gym. So, with that being said, I have an ask for you, which is whenever you start trying to create new habits, new behaviors, you start getting goals together for yourself, either to lose some fat or to burn some muscle, try to make one thing at a time. Do not make them too big, too difficult to achieve. As an example, I will eat protein with breakfast every single day. That will be a change. It's an easy thing it's an easy habit to pick up. Once you're doing this consistently, then you can add another one, which it could be, hey, I will apply the rule of 5 to my grocery cart. And then the next one, I will drink a glass of water before reaching for a soda. So pay attention to this. The idea of this education, like I said at the beginning of the video, is to give you resources, information to help you be successful with your new journey of mindset shift of what works and what doesn't work. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to get me. I'll be in the office Monday to Friday, or if you want to send me an email with any questions, please let me know. And lastly, what I wanted to say is that for the people who are full-time employees at Caterpillar and you have some difficulty with your diet, we actually have a dietitian for free for every Caterpillar employee. If you need a referral so I can get you set up with that dietitian, just let me know. I will get you connected and she can do a nutritional assessment and get you set up with a diet that works well for you. Thank you so much. Have a good day.